Dave!
Hey,
Dave, it's been a while.
it has been
We
too
just
long,
like
dude. Yeah.
it has been ages. Like if you're listening to the feed, it might not be actual ages, but it's been weeks since we last talked to each other because this life got in the way very much. Before we tell you about what kind of life got in the way, I forgot to tell you this earlier, and I really want to get it out before I forget, which is I want a new kind of merchandise for my company. I want playing cards because then I can play with my
Okay.
telemetry deck.
Ooh. Yes. Are you serious about that, Daniel? Because that could rock.
No, but
Maybe you should
I'm
just make some. You should make some trading cards, right? And then rather
trading
than
cards
playing
are cool.
cards, then you could
Like we
just
do
have
have,
less. But you, yeah.
yeah, like our friend and contributor and not like employee, but like basically employee, Jihad. He made actual trading cards the other day for telemetry deck for like distributing on at conferences. And because he
Awesome.
went to a Japanese Swift conference, which I forgot the name of, and distributed them there. And apparently they were met with great enthusiasm. So I'm thinking, oh, should we like actually make some of those? Because like they look kind of cool, but they were like the artwork itself was kind of clearly AI generated, which I didn't mind for that purpose. But like if we really want to do this, like probably need to have like something that's made by an actual human. But like still, like this was pretty cool. And
Yeah.
I think I
That's
have
awesome.
one somewhere. I think at some point one of them actually reached me here in the cold Hamburgian north, but I don't have it visibly in front of me right now. If I find it, I will post it in the show notes. Maybe there's an image somewhere on it.
Oh, that
So
sounds
yeah.
cool. And yeah, I like the idea of yes, you have your telemetry deck.
Yeah.
Could be cool.
How have you been?
I've been good, man. I've been good. Yeah, just super busy with life outside of indie development and podcasting and everything that we do there. So day job has definitely been quite busy in the last month or so. But yeah, otherwise I'm good. Like I've been we'll talk about it in a bit, but I've been heading down the vibe coding route, which I would not have predicted maybe 6 months ago. So
Yeah. Like
yeah,
you sounded very much anti everything.
not anti everything, but definitely anti the edges of tech that I see as being quite unethical and everything else. But yeah, something's clicked for me with AI dev tools at least. But I'm burying the lead. I kind of want to talk about that in depth after you've introed the show at least.
Yes. Before I enter the show, let's get this over with. I want to tell, especially our listeners, why we've been offline for a while. It's basically my fault. So you know my cats, and they got sick a few weeks ago, and they have both died now. And I basically had to take a few weeks just off the air, not performing, not being present in online spaces really. And it still hurts, but I'm kind of back. But I needed some time away. I couldn't really be happy and whatever. I'm still a bit muted, I think, and
Understand?
that's very much okay.
Yeah.
Like it took a while to really like just like get all the crying out. Then I had a phase where I just like worked a lot on like code, so I could tell you about that. And now I'm kind of starting to find my balance again.
That's cool. I
And
understand all of that, dude. So, it's the show can
you
ebb and
would,
flow, and I'm sure listeners will understand. I mean, I had a similar thing with our cat Monty at the beginning of the
right,
year.
right.
Yeah.
And with that out of the way, really on to funner stuff. So, hey, welcome to Waiting for Review, a show about the majestic indie developer lifestyle. I'm your scintillating host to hear about a tiny slice of their thrilling lives. I am Daniel, an agentic agent from Agentia, and I'm here with Dave, a cave dweller from the global south. Join us while waiting for review.
Dang. I'm not sure if you did me dirty there.
You just before we start recording, you called the room you're currently in your cave.
It's a
That
small
that
room.
moment you
Yeah,
sealed your fate.
I did indeed. I did indeed. filthy Danielses. Sorry, there's a reference to the fact I'm not very tall and a bit of a hobbit, and if I live in a cave, then of course I've got to be Gollum. Yes, but
Yeah.
no, so here I am in the, well, I guess it's the Lightbeam Maps cave whenever I'm doing the show.
Ooh, does it have like one of those poles where you can slide down, and when you reach the bottom, you're in your Batman construct?
No,
Is it
no,
like behind a
unfortunately
waterfall?
not. Well, technically, if you go far enough away from my house, maybe, because there's a
Nice.
few around the area. Yeah, but no, not
So you're
hidden
just
behind a
like Batman,
waterfall, unfortunately. Yeah, yes, absolutely, I'm Batman.
but like
No.
60s Batman.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, watch me dance.
Speaking of, I did a tribute to 60s Batman. Like this is not a segue because like I didn't plan this. This is just a random thought striking my neurons. But I can show you this. Hang on. This is actually I have this prepared. So I did a thing. Like it turns out the telemetry deck error messages weren't very good. And I had like not a lazy, but like I had like one of those afternoons where the brain doesn't really brain. So I spent 2 hours trying to figure out how to get Blender to export SVG lines like in a comic style. And
Ooh,
so let me show you the new error message that shows up when your telemetry deck application crashes.
and it's actually exported it out as SVG.
Yeah, it's an SVG file.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's
And
wicked.
it says kapow, just like in the Batman movies or Batman TV show from the 16th. I mean,
Excellent. Yeah, no, that's cool. I didn't realize you could export SVG out of Blender, but I guess of course you can if you have the right plugins or the right settings.
it is, yeah. So Blender does have a thing called freestyle, which is a way of like tracing all the lines. Like it's used for
Mm,
like comic style renders. Like if you
grease
have a
pencil.
grease pencil is also a thing that Blender has, and it does kind of the same thing, but it is a different subsystem. And it's the newer one basically. But for freestyle, which is the old, there's then an additional plugin on top of the plugin that will actually export those freestyle lines as SVGs, which works also because freestyle is very like limited. It only does lines basically. And so this also only does outlines. For a few like icons and illustrations in the telemetry deck blog header style, I think it's kind of cool. And for the error
That's
message, it was kind of nice. And maybe I want to have like a few illustrations for like, I don't know, registration, creating an app, so that kind of stuff. Like the kind of like screens where not a lot of on the screen, but you kind of want to have a little bit more personality.
I like the style. I do like the style.
And it's 65.
Yes, because SVGs rock. Unless they've got embedded rasterized images, and then you're doing it kind of wrong. Please
You're
let
kind of doing it
SVGs
wrong,
just
yeah.
be vectors. Yeah, but speaking of SVGs, and you don't know any about what I'm about to tell you, I don't think, but I have a thing. I made a thing.
Tell me about your thing.
So, and this will be a bit of a segue into me talking about some of the AI stuff. So bear with me, but let me share. I made a shader, and is it going to let me present? Come on, it's not letting
Is the
me.
shader in the room with us right now?
I was going to say it's not letting me present. This is
Can you
technical
feel the
difficulties
shader?
mode.
Like,
Screen, let's
can you
go.
feel the shader inside your heart? You gotta
No, not at
believe.
all.
You gotta believe in the shader.
You can do it. Here we are.
Now we're seeing something. Let me describe what I see.
Thank you for backing me on this.
Of course. So it's a website that's called shadertoy.com, which is a tool for developing shaders in a language that I don't understand. It looks kind of assembly-ish or C-ish.
GLSL, it's sort of C based.
And yeah, you have a shader code on the right side. On the left side, there's a green TV, and I don't know if the TV
Mm-hmm.
is part of the shader or if it's or if it's just
This
like a.
entire shader is drawing the TV and the scan line that's going past and doing the
There's a
animation.
scan line. There's also like very pleasant little like pixels
Yeah.
on the TV. That looks really cool. It's
Thank you.
very nicely animated.
Now, of course, you can alter the parameters and then rerun the shader in Shader Toy in this interface we've got here. So you can change the color change the speed of things or whatever.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, obviously, if I flick that one there, this will make it yellow. There we go. Anyway, that's not really the point. The point of this was that I had an image that I was playing with for an icon for my new app, and it's an SVG file. And I was like, okay, so the idea sort of took me that I could turn it into a shader. And I mean, if you look at all of the code here, this is just generating it. There's no SVG code here now.
Yeah, but it's like basically okay, draw a rectangle here and draw a line there
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah. Um, I didn't really make it. I put it through Claude code. I gave it the SVG file. I described to it much the same as you just gave a description a minute ago, actually, of what you're
Hmm.
seeing on screen. I gave a description of the SVG file, broke it down into sort of what it was, and then obviously the SVG file is code and it'll be able to kind of see, well, not see, but map some of these bits. So I then said how I wanted it animated and what I wanted as parameters. And it cranked away and spat me a pretty good first draft out in like a minute or so. And I was like, damn, I've just animated an SVG with that process in a way that would have not occurred to me a while ago. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, it's not really necessarily earth shattering. An LLM can read a SVG file quite easily because it's just code. But it was being able to then map it to this language and get this output. A level of level of stuff I wouldn't have done. But if I show you a different website now, I'm not going to try and search there actually.
The website he's entering is internet.com.
No, it was interactive shader format. Let's go there. So
Gesund.
yeah, interactive shader format is another one of these shader formatting things. Let's see if it'll sign me straight in. No, it won't. It doesn't matter. I put
Create
it on
interactive
there.
shaders for the browser, your desktop, or mobile. All right. Also,
Yeah,
another shader maker.
and a different one. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I
These are
can
kind of
actually
pretty.
find
Can I
myself.
just like you make those and like use them in
Yeah,
actual like
in
internet
software,
development?
you could do. You could probably embed them. Yeah, there's there's all sorts there.
Yeah, it's like very trippy, like lava lamp style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And I think you want to show me yours?
I was trying to. Yeah. Will it find me? Maybe not. It
It
doesn't
is not
really.
finding you.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, but I really wanted to show the interaction that it had.
Oh, you
So
can make them interactive too. That's kind of neat.
yeah. 1 moment, caller.
Why you search that up?
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you something? What can I tell you? Have
Yeah.
I have a new game that I started playing just yesterday
Yeah.
or the day before yesterday, and it's called Golden Lap. And it's a motorsport manager kind of game. So it's like you manage a Formula One team, but you manage a Formula One team in the 70s, and it's incredibly simple. Like the graphics look exactly like mini motorways or that kind of kind of game.
Okay.
So the only
Yeah.
way you're actually looking at a one of those races is from the top. You have like just a graphical representation of the racetrack as in just like a squiggly line, and then there are dots, and the dots represent the cars, and that's all you see. Like that's the entire game, and then you can like do like strategic tire choices and like tell your drivers to
Okay.
push or let off a little bit and stuff like that. And it's like I am kind of embarrassed how hard this game is gripping me.
Could you, yeah, send me the link, please, because I need a new distraction at the moment in that
Yeah,
sense.
sure. It runs on Mac and Windows and Linux, and it is on Steam. I will actually post the link in our internal notes, and then if you feel like
Mm-hmm.
it, you can even post it in the show notes later.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I have my shader. I have my thing. So shall I present it? Finally managed to find it on that site.
Fantastic.
Uh, yeah, the difference here being those parameters I mentioned are then able to be altered. So if I put that on there, off it goes. It's now coming
Well, I
to life
see.
just a little bit more.
The TV is now rotating and or scaling interactively
Yeah,
according to like some sliders
according to these parameters.
that you are doing sliding. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, and you can see we can change the color as it goes as well. So I guess I just wanted to share that with like this is where something then comes to life a little bit more for me with like that was a process that I would not have done before. Like I've been
Mm-hmm.
I can write fragment shaders and filters and things, but actually making shapes and interpreting it in a good way to make something really artistic, I kind of suck at. Um, so just being able to get the SVG I had into a format that I could then manipulate, set parameters, and do things. It's like, yeah, that kind of rocked. I had fun,
Yeah, that's
and I
kind of cool.
know
Where did you
like
get the SVG from?
SVG was based off of a yeah, so that was actually generated from a chat GPT chat a month or two ago. Not the SVG, but like a bit of the image. And then I fed that into something to then chuck me out an SVG in the same style.
I see.
So I'm down the rabbit hole, Daniel. I've been doing a few of these things just to see what's what. And then, yeah, actually finding different bits of workflow from it all, I guess, really. Um,
And you say you've been using Claude Code.
mhm.
How is that working for you? Like because I haven't tried out Claude Code. I tried
Yeah.
Claude 3.5, 3.6,
Hmm.
5, but I haven't tried out Claude Code. Oh, tell me all
Okay.
about it.
Well, yeah, so I guess just to back up a second, because like on our, I think on our previous show, I talked about being a bit down the rabbit hole, right, and where some of this stuff seemed to be going for me, and that's a while ago now. And I was on a mission to sort of try every service out, pretty much as best I could. Like I took out a ChatGPT subscription for June, I think it was, and then I deliberately cancelled it as soon as I took it out so that I'd be forced to either renew it consciously or pick something else. I don't know what I was going to do. I think I was going to try Claude anyway next, but Claude Code has been sort of coming up and alongside, that it seems to be the thing that the company that's been making the Claude AI is now really going for, largely because it actually does a good job when you know what you're doing with it or when you're
Mm-hmm.
able to get it set up. So that's what I did. I let the chat GPT run out. I didn't subscribe to anything for a couple of weeks. I went reading on how Claude Code worked. Good friend of mine, I hope a friend of the show, Konstantin Kostov, very kindly did a video call with me and showed me through a bit of how he uses it. And that set some light bulbs off for me. So yeah, what you've got is you've got a command line interface, you've got access to the bot itself, to the coding setup itself that it's got, and it manipulates your code for you in your directory, right? It is then able to edit everything that's in the repository or whatever that you are currently inside of. And obviously you can still edit it yourself outside of that. You can run an IDE alongside it as it goes if you want. Yeah, all manner of ways that you can work with it. But I decided I wanted to do a new project and see how far I could go with like it writing it for me. So greenfield, I've got a concept in my head of the app, and Yeah, that's exactly what I did, Daniel.
How far did it go? Like how much along this? How deep into the concept are you actually?
Well, the big part about Claude is that it's sort of this agentic AI approach. And I think the best way for me to explain that, sort of off the top of my head, is that you make agents, you set them up, you configure them, and they are like bespoke flavors of the LLM to some degree, or it's the LLM with bespoke rules. And so the way Claude works is you can define agents and define these agents as a set of rules as to what they're able to do or what you want them to do, and then it uses them to when it's actually trying to solve problems and edit your code for you or add features. So the first step for all of this really for me was like, right, I need to create agents that are going to look after specific bits of the app. Structuring this has been a bit of a thing. So as I think most iOS developers know, like Xcode can be fragile in terms of its project structure. Right. One of the biggest ways to getting merge conflicts back in the interface builder and storyboard days was like, its XML format for that. The Xcode project format is much the same. So I kind of figured like if something else is adding files into my project, is it going to make a good job of it? Because it's not actually opening Xcode, is it? It's just going to add the files in the directory and then try and manipulate that file, like the Xcode project file. So I decided to split things up a bit. So I don't know how deep you want me to go on this, really, because I sort of feel like I could go right into how I did it and what I did it. But
Maybe not
yeah,
that deep, but like
are
we
we
could
too
go into
deep?
two directions. On the one hand, like if your experience with code generation AIs is anything like mine, you kind of get surprisingly far, but kind of like bland UI, kind of like all the
Mm,
boilerplate. But then you have to add your own spin and actually clean it up. So we can talk about that, or
yeah,
we can talk about like you say like oh you have these agents and they just do things for you. And like you could describe like how that actually looks like. Well, what is the actual thing you do like you're not talking to someone
yeah.
on the phone. That would be barbaric and
No, not at all.
horrible.
No, it's just like it's a chat interface inside of
Uh-huh.
your command line, and I think there's not even a lot of point in me sort of bringing it up and showing you. Like you can link a screenshot of Claude or whatever, but it's literally just like being in a terminal, except you're typing commands to one of these LLMs, right? And hang on a second. No, I can show and tell. I can show and tell a little bit. Let's just look at what the latest thing was in there that I was working on, and then I can talk a bit to how that's working. So I'm incredibly unprepared, but that's fine. Okay, so I'm in the command line. I'm inside of Claude, and what you can see here is from top to bottom. I log in. I open Claude. I tell it I'm dangerously skipping permissions, which is kind of its YOLO mode, where it doesn't ask you every single time if it's allowed to use a tool or not, because it will use Bash, it will use Xcode build, it will use Swift build, it will use anything from the command line pretty much. And that's why it can be dangerous, right? That is going to potentially skip a whole
And
bunch
so
of
it's
stuff
all
I
in the
may not want
terminal.
it to do.
That's kind of neat because like
Yeah.
I've been using Cursor and that's in the kind of in the sidebar, but this is like very old school. And what I can also
Yeah.
see is like you have like to dos in that. Like this looks like a to do app, but are those the to dos that you can hand over to the
This is
thing, or is it like
yeah,
does it
it's a
generate those
workflow
automatically?
I no, it's a workflow I told it to do. In terms of I've got a to-dos MD file in the repository, and then
Hmm.
everything that I have that I want it to do, I get it to add to that. And then I say we like it's a real thing. We work from there, right? In terms of we've now got a list of stuff. So it'll echo that as it's working through. And I think I'll give you an
And so,
example of
what is
what's
the
going on here.
agentic part? Is the agentic part just that it like kind of like does one thing after the other, and like also uses like the like command line tools or stuff?
The agentic part is that we've got these different definitions. of, yeah, that we've got, as I understand it, you can actually invoke specific agents in Claude by name and you can interact with them. But I never needed to, because if I show you the directory that this is all in, it will make more sense. So let me see if I can just bring that up, because I'll show you the project structure and then try not to go too deep into the weeds, but it will show you a bit of how it started. So here's the folder.
All right, so as a
Bunch of
folder, it
stuff in
has
there.
subfolders. It has a filter
Yeah,
development.md and a setup.md.
yeah. So filter development's work in progress at the moment, but setup was really involved, and you can't see inside that when I'm just sharing what it is. Setup was really involved. Let's see. This is a terrible way of sharing this, so give me a second, because I have a much better way. Yeah. So if I share with you Visual Studio, then we can take a better look. Cool. If I'm
Okay.
in the same folder again, and now we can look inside stuff nicely and talk about what's there. And maybe I make this just slightly bigger for you. Is that
So you have an
working,
MD
Daniel?
file set up in MD that kind of describes the file. Okay. It has like a table of concept, project overview, architecture requirements, installation steps, CLUD code configuration, Swift package, and so on. Did you write that yourself? Is that also generated?
This is a generated file,
Because
but it's
it looks
based
kind of
off.
generated.
It's generated, but I
Uh
asked
huh.
it to be in terms of, I had a big back and forth with the Claude chat agent and said, okay, I'm making a new project. I want it to, have all of these things inside of it. This is what it's doing. I want it to have a very clean architecture in terms of separation of concerns between different aspects of the app. It's going to have a video filtering engine. I was very specific about some of this and then really vague about other bits I didn't sort of care so much about. I was specific about I wanted separate Swift packages locally in the app for the different parts of what it does. And then, yeah, it goes on. And this is a huge S file, right? It's probably about, it's just over 1,000 lines. So it's big enough. If I go to the agent system, these are agents, and this is what it does. So you've got a UI agent, for example, Daniel.
It says agents/UI agent.md. So apparently defined by a markdown.
Yes. So in the setup file, it made an initial go for setting up one of these agents, and you can
And then it
see
gets
UI
it's kind of like a
agents.
description, like specialized in creating Swift
Yeah,
UI views, handling user interaction, and so on.
yeah. And then we laid out some focus areas. This one definitely gets invoked in the UI components package. Yep. And what this does is it primes it, and it says, okay, start setting down the path in which the LLM is going to be guided, right? So instead of me having to say, right, you are a Swift UI specialist, you will give me good quality code for this every time, it's pulling that from this file and it's then
So this is kind of like
directing.
that. This is kind
Yeah,
of like that LLM's like context that it kind of gets. So is
that's
that what
right.
the agentic part is in that case? Like you just like invoke the LLM several times, but it gets different contexts? Because like what I think agentic means, but I'm dumb, right? I'm really, really only
You're not.
partway furnished in the intelligence directory. Is I thought that it could like take different actions and like access the internet and interact with, I don't know, MCP, whatever that means.
You can. You can take it
So
that
is
far.
that also the thing,
Yeah.
or is it just like, oh, you have like different shades of personality?
It's both, I think, to be honest with you. Like the way I'm working with it here is I've defined separate agents for development duties within this project. And they're only invoked when I'm interacting with Claude itself, right? Which is me giving it instruction. Sometimes that'll be we lay out one of these to-do files with a lot of instructions, and then I say, hey, go start to finish. Don't ask me until you're done. And it just chunks through and we'll sit there for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, doing whatever I need it to do. That bit's then when the agentic stuff kicks in, right? Because as it's going through each task, it will then be going, well, okay, I'm in this context here. This is a UI task, so I am the UI agent, and it will bring that forth. There are ways where you can kind of get them talking to each other and crossing context and separating out. I don't think I'm really that deep yet, and I can't speak to that very well. There's also ways of setting these things up so that, yeah, they are actually in control of different software on your computer through MCP. For example, at the moment it's only in control of the software it can access from the command line. So I'm using Xcode build and scripts and things to run testing there. I could run an MCP server for Xcode, and then it would start to remote control Xcode from that connection. But yeah, for me, the agentic stuff has been much more about defining these separate sort of pieces of context. In fact, let's open it up, that it will then use for different parts of the app. And I found that to be very useful, just in terms of then actually starting to get the type of code that I want out of it for these different areas of the app.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So now I get a better idea of how that looks like.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for the show and tell.
No worries. No worries. And yeah, I think you asked me before, like, we can go this way, we can go that way, and you sort of asked me like how it had actually gone. Like I think it's probably important to talk to here is like I gave it this file, this setup file with everything in to configure the project, barring the fact I got one of the subdirectories wrong and then had to delete everything and rerun it.
Mm-hmm.
It did it first try, like it did what I asked it to and laid out this structure. So that meant that all of these agent files were then created, all of the Swift packages were created, like the initial stubbed Swift packages. I think I got prompted once to open Xcode and make a new project and add them in as local packages. And then after that, it was off and running. Within about 10 hours, I had a working prototype for this video filtering app. That was camera feed, some core image filters being applied, and some basic buttons and things to turn things on and off. Yeah. And it's been good. Like that's where it started, and I've kind of kept iterating for the last couple of weeks from there. It's now a lot more fully formed. Yeah, but a lot of this I've been driving through the command line and just letting it rip. This is what I want. Go through this, add everything to the to-dos, and then keep working.
How much have you paid? Like, if I may ask.
Too much.
Because like this thing pays per token.
$173 a month NZ at the moment.
All right. So not thousands at least.
No, not at all. Yeah. It's but it's been a good experiment. So I've got a lot further than I thought I would with it after using ChatGPT. Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't tried out Code yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I've tried out like I've been working with Cursor mostly for the autocomplete, but like it has a chat window as well. It doesn't have separate agents, and I think it uses Claude 3.5 under the hood. And what I found is kind of similar that, oh yeah, you can like reach oh yeah, this works, say it's super fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, I think I haven't shipped a lot of the like generated code yet, and I don't think I will ship like a ton of it, because at least with that combination and stuff, like for me, I run a lot into the problem that at the end it doesn't really work properly, or it works but it's kind of shitty in a weird edge case, and the reason is that I didn't have this like fully formed in my mind when I requested it. But what is kind of nice is like just mocking up the user interfaces and then being able to think about them because you've already seen them and then kind of re-implementing them or even taking the user interfaces, but like building all the like, I don't know, like a bit of infrastructure and then let it just do the user interfaces, that kind of stuff. It's nice. It's really nice. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's the new art of like playing with the things, but
Yeah, it requires a bit of investment and a bit of a leap of like, almost for me, it required a bit of a leap of faith of just sort of being like, yeah, let's see what happens. Like, it's not even faith. I had no trust that it was going to actually give me
mhm.
a semi-reasonable prototype or whatever.
But
And
Dave,
it,
like until you ship this thing, like I won't have I'm not trusting.
yeah, I mean, it's not looking like a prototype anymore, Daniel, not in the same way as it did 2 weeks ago. It's sort of taken a lot of form now. But I found the same sort of edges I think you were kind of alluding to before, right? It's really good at boilerplate. It's really good at rewriting, things into other things as well. So like, okay, no wonder I found it relatively easy to make an SVG into a shader toy shader, right? It's code, it's translating it. That sort of stuff it can be really good at. But then when you get into the more, I want to say, creative end of it, or the stuff that for your business, Daniel, or for the stuff I build, sort of starts to become the secret sauce, if you like.
Meat on the bones.
Yeah,
The the
like
the,
for
the
me,
tofu on the bones, actually.
yeah, for me that ends up sort of being like the actual filters and the art of actually being able to make stuff run well in real time on mobile. Yeah, it falls over there a bit. There was a few things where I've had to sort of go, right, this isn't going to work because it just doesn't know how to work with these APIs in the way I need it to. And that's where you step in, right? That's where you sort of have to go, yeah, I'll do it here. I'm not going to one shot this thing with a prompt. Of course I'm not. And yeah, learning when to sort of like, I guess, take it out of automatic and drive stick again. That's been a bit of a learning process for me, but that's what I'm doing. It's my thoughts are all over the place because I really am learning something new every day, and it's sort of I've not necessarily gone deep on all the fundamentals of this. It's been more a case of, right, I'm a user. Let's see what the hell I can do with this. By the time I've got the app to the App Store, my plan is to kind of summarize everything and bring it together as a blog post and actually sort of show like, yeah, this is the steps I took. These are the things that have been good. These are the things that have been truly frustrating because there's been a few of those. Um, yeah, but I don't know, man. It's been more fun than I would have expected. And 6 months ago, I would have just been like, yeah, what's the point? It's you know, this stuff is
I
awful.
mean, I can also see that you are enthusiastic, which is kind of nice to see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's been a case of what I'm now reaching. I guess is like I've been learning how stuff works, and I always love learning, so that's cool. But like I'm reaching a stage where what I can see for sort of indie app development is it's a tool that can then let me start focusing on the stuff that I actually care the most about. Like, making filters work, for example, in an interesting way. Like, I don't mind writing that code. um, but no, like, yeah, I guess just to say it's brought a bit of fun back into it all for me.
Fun is important. Well, that's kind of cool. I have one thing that I wanted to tell you about, which is kind of a segue into the next topic, if that's okay with you.
Go for it.
Which is you said you're gonna write a blog post, and that made me think about do you know what my most successful blog post of the last 5 years is? It's the one about automating screenshots with XC test, which is
Yes.
very like deprecated by now. But I've been reminded of that fact just the other day because I wrote like a new feature. Like I wrote like I don't know 20 new features for the telemetry deck. But I wrote one which is so we have these notebooks, right? So if I go
Yeah.
to the analytics for my own private blog, which has, as you can see, up to 8 visitors per day. So that's kind of,
Mm-hmm.
if I go, I go to the notebooks, and then I can kind of like write a notebook, which I have done here. That just like lists, like how
That's
the,
nice.
like I can mix text and charts, right? Like that's what a notebook does. It's like kind of like a Jupyter notebook. So I can like just like write some text that says like, oh, this is how many people have visited telemetry deck or not telemetry deck, blog.winsmith.de, which is my private blog that hasn't been updated in 25 years. And then I can have a query that just like displays the necessary chart, right? And so I have done a thing now. These things are now publishable. So if I
What?
hit the thing, if I hit this thing, it opens a publicly shareable link. Like it is now published, so I could theoretically unpublish it. And this
Oh,
thing
what?
is now
That's
available
so
on the public
cool.
internet. The data is a
Yes.
snapshot, so it doesn't update automatically because that would tax the servers, and also like you don't want to like just like share all your future data just because you're sharing data once. But yeah, I'm gonna
I
actually
like
post
that.
this to you, so you can have a look at
Yeah.
it yourself.
I really like that.
Yeah,
It's
it
wonderful.
needs, I think, analytics, which is kind of fun. Yeah, this is
Hold on
one
a
of them.
second. Right. So it's a blog post that's made from making a note on your analytics that you're then going to need analytics inside to know if people have looked at.
Exactly. I have another one that's also kind of a demo notebook, which is this one, because our friend Paul Hudson asked me a
Mm-hmm.
question about dynamic type, and I was uniquely placed to answer it. So I did. These are the most used sizes for like preferred content sizes for dynamic type, which
Wow.
large is the most preferred. Most people have it set to large if they haven't set it to normal. Like people who have set it to normal are kind of not in here. Like, hang on, but it's in here. Right here we go. Around 1% of people actually have an accessibility content size, but
Mm-hmm.
even more, like 33% of people have a non-default content size. So those are the people
Yeah.
like your dad. I don't know. Like I'm kind of like imagining things. Like I'm hallucinating. Like your dad, who kind of set up his phone and then said like, oh yeah, the large version kind of looks better. So a third of people are actually using a larger than like a non-default content size, which is way more than I thought it
Yeah.
would be. And so yeah, I kind of built this notebook to research it. And then I was like, hey, I can
So
actually
does that
share
is
this directly.
and that's filtered specifically for the large because you can go the other way, right? And you can set it smaller as well.
Right. So the data that I like this query just answers default versus non-default. So like most people like have it on default, but like, and of the non-defaults, the top 10 are like large, extra small, medium, triple XL, double XL, small, and then accessibility M, accessibility L, and accessibility XL, which are like the accessibility sizes.
Right. So when you've said, okay, I actually need more than this, and
Right.
because that's,
So
yeah.
these are really hard to design for, and you really should take them into account. But even if
Mm-hmm.
you're just like topping off at like, even if you want to just want to reach like more than 2/3 of your customers, you should at least look at the large and maybe small sizes.
Yeah. You should definitely do that. And I mean, like, some of that has become a little easier these days, just in terms of how Swift UI lays things out. You know, you're into dynamic sizing by default instead of like how it was back when.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people these days, right? Or I have been. Side note, I've got new glasses now, so
They
that's
look
good.
gorgeous on your face.
Thank you. They're not these ones though, because they were reflecting my screen and making a mess of the podcast. So I'm back on my old glasses there. But no, I'm one of those people who's needed the text size up. And I can tell you when an app doesn't work or a website doesn't work on my phone because I've got the text size up, my reaction is to just go, well, stuff that app, then I'm going to do something else, right? Because you sort of feel like this is not my problem and I'm not going to turn my text size down just to make you work.
Right.
Yeah. So I think from a development perspective, like, yeah, it is important. I'm going to be looking at this with the new app and making sure that it scales nicely across the ranges and all of that. Because yeah, I don't want to alienate 1 in 3 people.
Yeah. That's pretty neat. My voice is also going. Maybe we should reach the end of that episode. But I have two things that I need to talk about first.
Go for it.
I submitted a talk. I think I already told you about that, but I wanted to say that even though we haven't spoken for 4 to 6 weeks, I don't have an
Yeah.
update yet because the conference is still picking applicants. I think
Okay.
I have
So
reasonably good chances, but it's still up in the air.
we're not going to name drop it and we're not going to link it until you've got some feedback.
No, like
And
I
you've
can
got
totally
it.
like
Yeah.
I submitted a talk to server side Swift in London on October 2nd.
Yes, of course. Yes.
And it's about server side Swift, and I'm going to talk about server side Swift.
That's brilliant.
I've kind of tricked myself into telling myself that if I can get accepted, get a talk accepted, then I have an excuse to go to London, which is a nice city. London,
Yeah. London, mate, innit? Yeah. You would be
and the other
back in
thing,
my old manor. I'm not from London.
right? The other thing
Anyway.
is chores, right? Chores. All right. So one person, I'm gonna name names. So Arno today asked me like, when's the new episode coming out? And will you like give out chores because or tasks because you gave out tasks to Lisa, and Lisa Lisa actually answered, and I thought it was awesome, and he thought so too.
Mm-hmm.
However, I know that he is very busy. So the task for Arno today is do nothing. Lie on the couch or go outside, smell the nice air, maybe have a walk with your dog or something. Just enjoy and smell the fresh air. And then I
And that's
also
a
need to
task specifically for Arno, is that
that's a
right?
task specifically for Arno. For the rest of you, touch some grass and consume art that is being made by a human. Read a nice book. Oh, I'm reading the Mistborn Chronicles right now. Do not spoil me. It's fantastic. Watch a fantastic movie or TV show, or just like look at the sky. All right.
And
That
yeah, with you
is it, I
with you
think.
on that vibe, like vibe coding too much. Yeah, I've definitely needed the art and the human side to offset it. Yeah. Foundation rocks, by the way. I've gotten well into that.
The foundation rocks. Right. All right. That's it. Thanks for listening. Please rate us on iTunes and YouTube. Send us emails at contact@waitingforreview.com and join our Discord. The link is in the show notes. Dave, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at lightbeamapps.
Fantastic. And for me, go to telemetrydeck.com/ I don't know, 404.html. Also go to social.telemetrydeck.com/Daniel because that's me. And also send me emails at, I don't know, daniel@telemetrydeck.com. I will really like saying my email on a public podcast that gets transcripts. My email inbox is going to love this. Thank you so much. It's going to say. All right. This was awesome. It's nice to be back. I missed you, Dave.
Missed you too, man. It's been good to see you again, mate.
Cool. And so have a
Take
great
care.
day and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.